What if Louie was in Smash? Excuse me for the lower quality, I'm not actually recording where I'm supposed to be and I'll explain it at the end of the video, but regardless, on with the topic. I'm pretty sure a good few of us have played with this idea in the past, and out of all the Nintendo IPs featured in the Super Smash Bros. Franchise, naturally it's Pikmin to once again be underrepresented with only a single character and alternate skin to its name. And with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's announcement of official Echo Fighters in the new game, who's not a better candidate than the King of Bugs himself? Wait, King? Maybe that lines up better than I thought for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate speculation. Yes, it's the wacky mystery sidekick man himself we'll be discussing today, going through his prevalence in the Pikmin series and in particular assets and motifs which could potentially be adapted to a Smash moveset. Here's a quick glimpse of my streaming schedule on Twitch this week, just to keep you in the know if you wanted to, and let's dive in. So obviously, Louie would be an Echo Fighter to Olimar. They practically look identical, coming with the same proportions, jumpsuit and helmet. And though it is easy enough to simply give him the exact same moveset as Olimar with a couple of spec changes, I'd like to explore all options for Louie, both as a simple clone and a diverging challenger. Now, Louie makes an appearance both in Pikmin 2 and Pikmin 3. In the second game, he is the second-in-command co-worker to Olimar and plays identically to him gameplay-wise. He's a bit dopey and frantic as a character, but otherwise doesn't stand out too much, other than in hue. In Pikmin 2, he can command 6 different Pikmin types alongside Olimar, that being the 5 we've associated with Olimar already in Smash, as well as the secret gift from the heavens, the Bulbmin, a Pikmin with an immunity to all elements apart from abandonment, something Louie can relate to well. As once the main objective of the game is completed, Louie is left stranded on the Pikmin planet by himself. We don't see him again in-game until the very end of the story. However, we do learn on the way Louie's eating habits, oddly enough, as in the Piklopedia, a bonus feature showing off the creatures discovered, Louie has notes on everything depicting the perfect way to prep them for a recipe, or the results of such experimentation. The notes themselves are just humorous fantasies for the reader to enjoy, but this also tells us that Louie is an avid meat eater, something that is foreign to everybody else in the Pikmin franchise, both seen and unseen. We also learn from emails from his grandma that he enjoyed eating bugs when he was little, further adding to this odd quirk more. With this being such a strong influence on him that he actually causes the events of the second game in the first place by eating all of the golden Pikmin carrots he was tasked to deliver, sending the company into a debt that forced him and Olimar back onto the Pikmin planet. And after all the time spent on the planet alone, he still manages to survive to the end, even potentially controlling beasts to do so, or so the ship implies during the same Piklopedia feature. Already from this alone, we can see a few elements of Louie's character that could impact how he plays versus Olimar in the Smash franchise, but we can also add a few smaller elements from his slightly less prominent appearance in Pikmin 3 as well. In this game, he appears at around the halfway mark, as he is discovered by the co-pilot characters of the game after defeating the boss of a certain area. From here, his actions are clearly erratic, as he doesn't see the co-pilots as allies, instead assuming they wish to capture him for some other means. As a result, he escapes, taking all of their food and a rubber ducky belonging to the captain with him. He also spontaneously explodes to open a new path. Somehow. From an unused data memo recording, we can also see how obsessed with food Louie is, as well as his obliviousness to some of the environment around him. Upon being captured again, Louie for the most part just stays in his roped fixture, forever floating in zero gravity. Through the same means, the player can also collect data memo recordings of Olimar, each showing Louie performing less than impressively with the Pikmin, indicating he's not too great with the Pikmin himself, despite his overwhelming survivability. But from one memo in particular, we do see that he is on the run from one creature he is able to notice and avoid before being captured. And once we finally reach the ending of Pikmin 3, Louie is reportedly missing, jumping ship once more and exploring the planet himself again all alone. And that's the backstory for Louie's appearances in the Pikmin franchise, so let's get into the meat of the video and discuss how some of this can translate over to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So as a start, if we wanted to keep things simple, we could literally give him the same moveset as Olimar. He stands faintly taller than him despite being a tad younger and could be given an extra heaviness in comparison to his floaty counterpart. I would especially see this as logical as Louie is known for repeatedly crashing onto the planet with his body, and at quite a force too. So perhaps to contrast him from Olimar's slow head dive, Louie is much more forceful on impact and a bit more realistic when it comes to his mass. You could even say it stems to the point where Olimar's floaty because of his brimming optimism and Louie's a bit more of a hard hitter. On top of that, he spends an amazing amount of time on the planet alone, meaning his survivability could also be translated over. Perhaps it could even be a matter of he is not as vulnerable when he doesn't have all of his Pikmin. Maybe he's even stronger without them, to a balanced extent at least. Either way, when it comes to Louie specifically in Smash, let's give him all the more opportunities, starting off with his Pikmin roster. Now there are 8 established Pikmin in the Pikmin franchise to be controlled so far, and Olimar has controlled 6 of them in Smash. In Super Smash Bros. Brawl, he omitted the winged Pikmin he obtained in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS simply because they didn't exist yet. But despite their prominent appearance in Pikmin 2, Olimar's never controlled the cave-specific Bulbmin. Perhaps it is because of this cave abandonment fact, or perhaps it is simply for the balancing aspect of having a Pikmin which is immune to all elements, which also take precedence in the Smash games. Or spoilers. But keep in mind that they have yet to be utilised as we move on to our other underdog Pikmin, the Rock Pikmin, who despite having a much more forefront appearance in the Pikmin 3 promotional material, are nowhere to be seen in Olimar's roster. This most likely comes down to their clone's applicability with the purple Pikmin, only really providing a knockback effect logically and crushing immunity, which isn't too elemental to say the least. Now combine these 2 unused Pikmin together and we have a potential ally army for Louie in the new game. Every Pikmin game always features the primary red, yellow and blue Pikmin, so let's assume both Olimar and Louie are blessed with their appearance and diverge from there, with Olimar holding the purple and whites at the back of his team and Louie with the Bulbmin and rocks. As for the wing Pikmin, who only appear when using Olimar's up special, this would perhaps be given to both characters, as we have seen Louie command wings before, or we could simply give Louie a different move entirely. Perhaps in Dr. Mario fashion, Louie can maintain Olimar's old Brill style, using the long-forgotten Pikmin chain ability. Or maybe that should be buried forever. Now, each of Olimar's Pikmin had specific attributes, such as immunities to their in-game elements, as well as different damage outputs, hitboxes, and HP. For the Rock Pikmin, I could see them working as the identical counterpart to the Purple Pikmin, replacing them entirely on Louie's team as the knockback-intensive defense. Though they could also use their flattered ability as a way to survive attacks like Kirby's Stone ability. Alternatively, as a new approach to the Purple's boosted HP, this could give them additional defense if damaged while grounded, but would have them immobilized and unusable for Louie until they can unplug themselves. I'd also imagine Louie couldn't simply pluck another rock to combat this. As for the Bulbmin, their balancing could simply come from being less damaging, but also harder to destroy without the use of physical attacks due to their immunity. This mirrors the white Pikmin on Olimar's team, who do 20% less damage but double damage on pummels. Other more minor details I can see coming into play with Louie is an alternative whistle sound for his down special, if it is kept, as well as an alternative ship design. Whether this is the Drake from Pikmin 3 or a wrecked version of Olimar's ship is up to you. Or he nabs Olimar's original dolphin to really mess with the aesthetic of the characters. Only other things I can really see for Louie is a series of taunt ideas, which include randomly exploding, as he did in Pikmin 3. If we keep it small and minor, it could work like Luigi's taunt, going hand in hand with his similar priority as a character sidekick. Playing dead, he survives on the planet somehow, so maybe he'll simply fall to the ground. Hopefully that won't get too confusing for beginner players. Panicking, Louie's not the most level-headed guy, and we've seen him panic a lot, so fitting it would be, especially with how it contrasts with Olimar's cool, calm-headedness. Eating, Louie practically has a fever for eating, whether it's golden pick carrots or simply something in his back pocket. It's a nice little break that he could take. Perhaps it even heals 1%, but obviously can't be spammed. Giant eyes, going kinda hand in hand with panicking, but Louie is known for spouting giant eyes to shocking revelations. And it could be a quick look here. Speaking of looks, he's got another famous look, the deadpan look to the camera, which he does multiple times in the series. And I think it works quite nicely in Smash as well, with the element of fourth wall breaking the other characters do. We could also get a simple jumping taunt from Louie, like Olimar's, but this time mirroring his actions in Pikmin 3, whereby he is demanding food. He could even keep the line and everything. And as an extra nod to Pikmin 3, there could even be a simple taunt based off of the Go Here feature. It could just be a simple pointing animation with an Easter egg sound effect from the feature. And as a final thing, I'd quite like to see a taunt that interacts with the Pikmin he has. This could also apply to Olimar, but I'd love a taunt that isn't just Louie moving. It could even be a thing where all the Pikmin have a pose to join too, but can be missing if they're missing. I'm imagining a scenario where the Pikmin climb onto his back or something, and obviously they don't have to be there. Or something that spreads them out more to not completely rearrange where they're positioned. Perhaps simply mimicking his pose where they stand is enough. It is a nice thought. As an idea for some new additions to the moveset with the Pikmin 3 update, it could be interesting to see the dodge roll incorporated somehow. Even if it is a simple dodge move for the game, the sound effect could be nicely applied too. There's also the charging mechanic, which Olimar doesn't utilise in his moveset. Where it could be applied, I'm uncertain, but could certainly be a devastating attack if built up well enough. Pikmin 3 also introduced rolling balls, electrical currents, and juicing fruit, but finding a unique place for the moveset seems troubling, but they're interesting to discuss in concept. Now these were all the original ideas I could think of for Louie in Smash, if he was given the freedom as a unique character, but after doing a little research, I found other people discussing the same topic, and providing some interesting ideas of their own. So for a start, I'll point you to these 3 images that discuss 3 entire movesets for Louie. This was brought to my attention by Evasive Ace on Twitter, so thank you to you, and to the creator, who I've hopefully worked out who the name is by the time I'm editing this. Now I won't go into crazy detail about every point made in these images, but feel free to pause the video and see for yourself. As a basis, the first image depicts Louie as a slower, heavier Olimar, which seems to be the case with most people's thoughts across the board. As a divergence from Olimar's winged Pikmin Up special, they suggested using the creatures of the Pikmin games, such as the swooping snitchbug in this scenario, to lift Louie up in the air. They could also chuck him downwards with a stronger force than Olimar's floating dive. They also introduced the idea of replacing Pikmin throws with the charge ability, and using it in the air as well. They also discussed the inclusion of sprays, which were used in the games to either boost up your Pikmin or freeze creatures into stone. This could be used as a new element into Smash to really change things up, and would be interesting to see included in the game. The second image pushes more onto the creature moveset, and though it looks interesting, I feel could be a tad too complicated for this little Echo Fighter. Regardless, it would be cool to see used. There's also the inclusion of a bomb rock attack, which could be a devastating explosive move for Louie. Great for kills. The third image focuses much more on the idea that Louie commands the Dweevils, who he's found with at the end of Pikmin 2. This time using them as more of a part of his model, though can be detached and respawned. With there being multiple types of elemental Dweevils, it could be interesting to see how this plays out, though obviously would be very different to Olimar. 3 other taunts I saw suggested for Louie included him stretching, as he often does when left idle, or perhaps even mumbling to himself as he does as well. He could also just fall asleep, as he is a dopey character and could be a reference to the 5-man knapsack in Pikmin 2, that literally lets the player lie on the ground to be picked up by the Pikmin for no major purpose. And there was another taunt that directly mimics him eating golden Pikbit carrots out of a crate, which is his big secret that is revealed in Pikmin 2 for completing the challenge mode. The only other major Louie ideas I saw for him was a change from his final Smash, this time using the Scornet Maestro, the first creature to capture him in Pikmin 3. Using this guy in the background, Louie can control the beast's array of attacks by directing its famous moves like a machine gun of bees, or simply a flying barrage of them. Perhaps even latching onto a character makes the bees fly off the top of the screen. It could be interesting nonetheless. Whatever is the case, let us know your ideas down in the comments. Do you think Louie is at all an actual possibility, or would you prefer someone else? Perhaps with his model size he could host an alternative skin to Brittany, mimicking Olimar and Alf even further. Is Louie the king we're rumoured to be seeing soon, or do you figure we'll see a Pikmin 4 protagonist instead? Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video and suggest any other characters you'd like me to discuss for Smash. Maybe this will become a mini-series on my channel. No promises though. Anyway, here's another quick peek of my streaming schedule this week, and I'll leave you off there. My name's been Daz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.